I figured rather than give individual training and take a lot of time and possibly get some confusion from one person training the next and so on, I just kind of do a video. So hopefully this will all make sense to you, and if it doesn't, let me know. If you have any questions, I'll go over things and have it make sense for you. You already had to look at the screen for the past week or so you can realize it's very similar to ours, and it's what it's got available on there. We do not have the canvas channel because it didn't work in the first place, nor any of the pager tones. I have tried to place the pager tones underneath the channels they go with so it all makes sense, versus how ours are kind of just laid out everywhere. A couple quick notes. First of all, these two pager tones right here, the groups, do not work properly, so do not use them yet. That's the only thing in this does not work. Everything else does work. So when these do work, I'll let you know. To broadcast, you got multiple ways, just like our other system. On the other system, you click the little broadcast button. On this one, you right click. It's a little different. It's like right here on ECO event. You right click it and you'll watch, it'll change here and get a little broadcast symbol. The broadcast symbol's up here, I'm sorry. But you get the point. Right click is how you broadcast. You can also push to talk or push the pedal on the floor. However, the push to talk and the pedal on the floor, like right now, I'm not, what am I going to broadcast on? We don't know because nothing's selected. Like on ours in dispatch currently, the old Motorola's, we have to select a system, so we can select primary. And if I want to, I can right click on it and transmit. But I can also right click and transmit without it selected. If it is selected, I push to talk, or if I push the pedal, it will transmit. Quite simple. The problem here is you can select multiple channels at once. Secondary, car to car, and primary are now selected. If I push the push to talk button, or if I push the pedal on the floor, I'm going to broadcast on all three. So be aware of that. This can come in handy though. Say for instance you wanted to, you're alone and you didn't want to tell everyone on primary, hey, I'll be code 6 on the fire channel. You could literally click the primary fire, click your mountain home ambulance. When that tone is done, do the fire department tone, and then you can broadcast on both channels simultaneously. You could say 106 mountain home fire, mountain home ambulance, respond to this location, and it would all go out. Now the incoming would only stay on primary for primary stuff and fire on the fire channel because they're not patched together. But it is an option. Each channel, I wish I could zoom in on this, but I can't. So just kind of play along on your own thing, your screen. If you hover over the channel, and this goes for all of them, every single one. I'll just use primary as an example here. I'll deselect it just because I don't want to accidentally do something. Up in the upper right hand corner, you'll see a little arrow, and if you hover over that, it shows priority marker off. If you click on that, it turns on your channel marker. This is the one that tells us the channel's clear. It sounds a little different than the one that we currently use, but it still works the same. And what is actually quite different and good for us, if I select this one here, it stays on primary. I can come over to secondary. I can select secondary and start talking on it. I can select car to car. I can do whatever I want anywhere else. That channel marker on primary stays on primary. It does not follow where you go like the current Motorola does. Down here, this little 12, this is your volume. If you hover over it and then scroll your mouse wheel, you'll see it can go up to 30. Or down to 0 if you scroll down that far. It defaults to 12 when you're not selected. If you select it, it now turns to 18. Kind of like how primary on the Motorola is louder at a 7 versus 5 for the rest. If you're selected or not selected, doesn't matter, but you see a little plus symbol. If for whatever reason someone's just really soft and you can't hear them, click the plus symbol, it boosts your channel up a bunch. Now you see the plus symbol over the number. Just click the number again, takes that boost off. If you're not selected, underneath that plus symbol, you see a little like forbidden sign, like a do not enter or whatever. That's the mute. Click it and it brings it down to 0. It's a quick way of just turning off a channel you don't want to hear it. Just like the plus, click the volume and it unmutes it. Now you'll see here M1. If I hover over, monitor audio, none M1. Same thing over here, M1. They're all M1 currently because none are selected. That's kind of like our right-hand speaker on the old system. Our current speakers for the Zetron are not labeled yet. I'll label them here shortly, but one is for the selected channels, one's for the non-selected channels. So if I select primary, now it shows primary. That means it's the primary speaker. If I select 2 channels, now both primary and secondary will come out of that one speaker. All of these others, I say M1, will come out of the non-select speaker. And here, last but not least, in this corner, you'll see a P with a circle around it. That's the patch selection. It works a lot differently than our current one. It's really simple. Let me deselect those. You go over here, I'm going to patch car to car and ECO event. You don't have to select them necessarily. You can if you want, but if you hover over that and there's a P1 and a P2 and they're not green, that means nothing's patched. If there's nothing there because for some reason someone deleted them, you can just click a new patch and create one. It's just going to be P1 or P2, but you just say P1. And now I want ECSO event patch to car. I hover over that and I click P1. These two are now patched. It's that easy. If you broadcast on car to car, it'll also go out over event, or vice versa. If someone out in the field broadcasts on car to car, people listening on event will hear it, and vice versa. If you want to patch in, let's say we want to patch in Oasis and secondary, while these two are patched, you can still do it with P2 and then P2. So they're not patched, but are separate from this patch. Let me get those patches off of there. You just do a quick click to get the patch off. Okay, this little weird thing down there. This is basically like an instant recall recorder. It's more handy than trying to go into the recorder itself, the stencil, to hear what the last thing was said. Let me go to primary. Yeah, I'm not even sure what's going to come out. Let's see here. Why would I not hear anything? Oh, okay. It's on M1. I was turning up the primary speaker, not the monitor speaker. Let's try this again. Yeah. And it will automatically go up forward. So if someone was like right here.
Code 6 out at M&M towing.
And when you're done, just click the pause button right there. It'll stop it. Otherwise, it's just going to keep playing the recordings. So that's one way to quickly find out what someone just said if you missed it. And that up here, this shows a headset. I'm not sure why. Just ignore that. Now, paging. Paging is fairly easy. You don't have to have anything selected. The page tone will go out over the proper channel no matter what. So if you want to page Pine Ambulance, you can do it one of two ways. You can either, well, actually, if you just read that little pop-up, it tells you. It says click to select the alert target or press and hold to send the alert now. So if I click and hold it, it'll start putting the tone out. All you do is let go, and when the tone is done, start broadcasting just like normal. Or you can click it, and then down here, you'll see this one alert targets stacked, has an X. We can turn it off, or we can click the send alert, and it will send the alert, or the tone for that matter. It's that simple. And it will deselect, by the way. Okay. It will deselect after you're done the broadcast, so the tone. And these all have been tested today, by the way, so they do work. All this stuff over here on the left-hand side, don't worry about it. Down here, you see two shields. One's currently a green plus. The left one is any alerts, like something's wrong with the system. It'll tell you what the code is. 9 times out of 10, it's just because you rebooted it, and it won't say anything, so just click acknowledge. If it actually has an alert as a problem, and it won't work, write it down, let me know, we'll try to get it fixed. The one on the right is a system health. Essentially, it's telling you, is it connected to the server? When you first log in, it might not be. All you have to do is just right click on any one of the channels, just for a split second, it'll connect and you're good. Here, and it even tells you, so it's kind of simple, press and hold the mouse left button to toggle the active microphone mute status. So I can actually, like, press and hold it, and look, now it's muted. If I try to talk through the microphone on the desk, it will not work. If I single click it, it pulls up this instead, and you can see right here, transmit is muted. I can unmute it that way. Underneath, you'll see also there's some volume controls. Primary is a speaker. This is that monitor, secondary speaker. Play with them. Now you can do that boost. Can't mute it because nothing's selected currently. To get them off, just click out of there. Over here are the speakers. Right now you cannot see, primary is not giving an option. So let's try this. Click on Oasis as a primary, and no, still not doing it. So not sure why that is. That's weird. But your secondary one, your monitor, you can mess with it. Push the talk. Alerting status, that's just telling you about the tones, that the tones work. Over here, this big red box, is your dispatch busy tone. That will only go over the channel that is selected. So here's another time when you can make a mistake. If you have multiple channels selected and you push that busy tone, it's going to go over both, in this case, event and car to car. I'm going to take it off car to car and just push it so you can hear it. This is that tone that some of you use to put a warble over the air to alert everyone, hey, you're busy in dispatch. There's like 8 phone calls coming in. Don't just start arbitrarily running stupid stuff over the air. That's the purpose of this one here. So listen what it sounds like. And it helps if I turn up the volume. But cool thing, hey look, I can just do this and play what it sounded like. Or maybe it didn't even play, I didn't hold it long enough. There. Now you heard it. This clock here, it is a military time. Let me know if it defaults back. We've been having some problems with that for some reason. Not sure. And that's it, really. The headset for the phones does work on CAD 1 and 2. Does not work in 3 because there's a test bed. So if you want to plug in, there is a separate plug-in. It's underneath the top part of the desk. So if you, basically for Eric, I guess now, on the left-hand side of the desk where the normal plugins are. Same general area, but on the upper part of the desk, that's where the plug-in is now. It will move later, but for now it's there. The volume of the speakers works the same way, if you want to play with those. I will say if you turn on the volumes for the new one and the old one at the same time, you're going to get echoes. So if you want to use the new system, turn the volume down on the old and vice versa. Also the default, I've currently got some of them set where the monitor is at 12 and whichever one's selected it will go to 18. I'm still trying to figure out work the kinks out. I think I'll get them fixed here in a minute. So if they're not like that when you get there, go ahead and do what you gotta do, play with it, send them where you think it's best. And if you find something that works better than the other ones, let me know. Up here at the top, okay, so if you hover over this max dispatch, I don't know if the screen shows it, hang on. There we go. Way up here, you'll see console, settings, and help. If you click console, it's just exit. That's all it is. And then it's right there in the desktop. Well, yours is a little different than mine, but on the left-hand side, it's called Max Console. No password, no login, nothing like that. Comes right up. I will be working on trying to get you guys some individual logins so you can custom tailor these to your personal preferences, but for now, this is it. The settings, there's a save user preferences. You cannot enable advanced settings. That's something only administrators can do. The save user preferences thing, at this point, it's disabled. Once I get you individual logins, I'll enable it so that way you guys can change positions of things, change colors, change sizes. All this stuff is configurable. I mean, I can make these bigger, make them smaller, change colors, you name it. So if you want some changes, have some suggestions, let me know. And I just realized I forgot two things. Kind of three, but whatever. For UHF, VHF, and fire, we have selectable channels, obviously. State police, All Call Bennett, and so on. To change those channels, just hover over the top and you'll see on the right hand side, this pops up. Just click whichever one you want. It's that easy. Note, if you click Hawaii right here, the radio does change to Hawaii in the back, and we are listening to Hawaii. However, the Motorola will not show Hawaii as being changed. Conversely, if I change the Motorola over to Hawaii, the Zetron will change to Hawaii. Not sure why. White State Police. This one currently has what we have in the back: Forest Service Dog, Trinity, Stadium SMBLM. Two of these are changing soon, so that'll be hopefully fixed in a couple of weeks. And of course, fire is repeater versus direct. So that's it. Oh, hey, look. Here we go. Perfect. I didn't see it. Click to view alarms, and all it says is ICPO offline. It's just telling you that it was offline. Now it's online. That's all it is. Just acknowledge all alarms. It goes away. If you acknowledge alarms and it doesn't go away, that's when you got a problem. So play with it. Click on some stuff. See what happens. Move them back and forth, so on and so forth. See what you can do with it. And if it is really broken and screwed up, well, close it out right here. Restart it. If it has a problem with that doesn't work, it shouldn't, but if it does, let me know.